So, Prometheus, new movie by Ridley Scott, who, as also, we'll be talking later in the program about Man on Fire, which there's a relation between Tony Scott. All right. So, new movie by Ridley Scott. As everyone knows, this is a big event movie, not just because it's a blockbuster movie, also because it's been somewhat, I think, 25 to 30 years ever since Ridley Scott has done a sci-fi movie. And when he first took this genre, he changed it in many ways and made it his own, and now most of what we have today is based on what he did back then. That's why.
So what was the last sci-fi movie he did?
Blade Runner, which he's now doing Blade Runner 2, which is very worrisome. Very worrisome. So, Prometheus story is this one. Well, let's just do
the prequel to the Alien.
Yeah, it is. Well, as Ridley Scott has said, it is somewhat a prequel in that it's in the same universe. This takes place 3 movies before.
So it's a prequel to the prequel to the prequel.
I suppose so. So, the story is we get a message on Earth. We find these cave paintings, actually, which show that there have been aliens that were on this planet originally. And they were here and they created us, and they left behind a map for us to follow, which we then follow. All right, well, I guess the space crew is, they represent mankind, and they then they're in cryogenic sleep for 2 years. Then they get to the planet after 2 years. They're awoken by David, who is played brilliantly by Michael Fassbender, and they then get there and they find, well,
they find the vases.
We should perhaps leave it at that. First of all, what did you think of it?
Well, I really liked it. I really liked that movie.
As someone, well, I think you definitely saw it from a different point that I had, because you went into it not seeing any of the Alien movies.
You did give me the 30-minute.
Well, I did.
The Alien movies.
But still, you hadn't seen them. So how did it go in as just a standalone sci-fi movie?
I thought it was excellent. It didn't have as much action as most sci-fi movies do, but it was a very good film. I thought it was very well made.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree with that. I agree. I think it was. I think because, as both of us know, there has been quite a backlash from a lot of people who, and I think I understand the backlash. There have been some people who are saying that so far it's the worst movie of the year, which I don't think in any way you could say.
They say that?
Yes.
Okay, that's.
I think I will say not the movie itself, but I think there was a bit of overhype about this movie, and I do think the trailers and the TV spots and the posters made it look like a movie that it wasn't. So I think it did in some ways attract an audience that was then disappointed with it. I mean, I remember I went to see this twice in the theater. Second time I saw it, it was with people that weren't as familiar with the Alien story, and they did feel like they were in some ways let down because it wasn't the type of sci-fi movie that it was selling itself in the trailers and the TV spots.
So what do you think it was really selling itself as? Something with more action?
Well, it seemed like it was selling itself with more action, more scares, more of a mainstream pleasing. And I will say it is more of a mainstream film than the original Alien movies. The major difference in the two is that originally you got these conversations with the people, like you'd have Harry Dean Stanton leading the blue-collar workers in saying that whenever they get back, they want equal pay. They want to be paid in advance if everyone else is going to get paid in advance. So you really feel like these are space trekkers that you can relate to, because they're talking about things like wanting a raise on their commission, what they're going to do whenever they get back home, things that they're doing on the ship. Where in this one, it is much more of Ridley Scott doing what he did in Blade Runner, which I do think he's more interested in following up on the ideas of Blade Runner than he was on Alien. Because in this one, he is talking about the big picture, and it leaves questions open that are going to probably lead into another one, which I will say, the writer, Damon Lindelof, who did writing for Lost. Did you ever watch any of Lost?
I saw a couple episodes.
I watched a few, and I watched the last few episodes, which a lot about Lost is that it's a lot of build-up with story, and then almost there's something to be said about ambiguity, but then there's something to be said about just leaving people off with no idea, almost as if it was
kind of anticlimactic.
Exactly, which I do feel there was a bit of that at the end of Prometheus.